Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. It's nice to see you guys. Austin's still trapped in the closet. It's the Wake Up America show. We're still broadcasting, streaming from home, hoping to God that the internet holds. Roads are bad out there. Why risk your life for a live stream? In Jam 77, joining us live, look, it's Liz. Bruce Burt Whistle from the 51st state of Canada. How you doing? Hi, John Rail. C.O. Day, Quest Fanning, Jose MMA, Andy Opperman, Blue Trike, Amy J. Ease, Brad Beckman, and Grizzy Cheese. How you doing? As well as Quantum Kilsharian. Welcome. Oh gosh, that's quite an abrupt stop there. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, AP for Liberty. We're glad and thankful to have you here. Click the like button if you haven't already, and we'll be glad to have you come back and join us every Monday through Friday. The Wake Up America show streams live 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. You can text the show and let me know what's on your mind. If you think that there's a news story that we should cover or perhaps a guest you'd like to see featured on the show, you can send me a text at 573-319-1586. Again, the text lines are open anytime, night or day, 573-319-1586. And if you text us there at 573-319-1586, then we can start a nice little dialogue, a nice little chat. Wildfires in California, unbelievable devastation we're tracking in the Palisades. California firefighters have been battling wind-whipped wildfires that tore across the Los Angeles area, destroying homes, clogging roadways, and tens of thousands of people fled and strained resources as the fires burned uncontained on Wednesday. Take a look at this.
This is the view from an airplane as...
You're going to have to forgive me with the internet speed here today a little bit, guys, and deal with me because I can't get to the studio to get the internet, can't get internet at home. We're in very rural Missouri, but some of these clips are working, some of them aren't. Let's see.
From KTLA photographer Paul Sanchez as he...
Still struggling a little bit with the internet, guys. Please forgive.
Sanchez as he's giving us an aerial perspective to the...
If I can refresh her here.
This is the view from an airplane as...
Yeah, unfortunately, we are really struggling with the internet today,
KTLA
guys.
Photographer Paul Sanchez as he...
This is the overview. You can at least see, you can see the photographs here, or the pictures.
An aerial perspective to the devastation in...
Well, just let me get that. Guys, give me just one moment. I'll be right back. I'm going to try and get this set up here for you. If I can find some ways to tweak the internet. There's little ways to tweak the internet, but... Fortunately, YouTube's not going to cooperate here today. I saw this video yesterday of two men and a dog trapped in a home surrounded by the Palisades fire. X might be working a little better. Absolutely terrifying. This video here, man, trapped inside a home. I don't have an update on what happened to the man.
Hi. Just be okay. You gonna be okay? Hi. You're gonna be okay. Oh shit. Welcome to the park. Don't worry about that. Good. Look at that. Oh shit. Scary, huh? Yeah. Plastic.
Now, the person who posted this video below says that he was told that the dog and both his humans were able to safely evacuate his property, but we don't have absolute confirmation of this. Absolutely terrifying scenes here. You can see here's an aerial view then, again, of Los Angeles over the Palisades. You can see the whole entire hills in California there on fire. James Woods was posting updates as he was evacuating from his
standing in my
home.
driveway getting ready to evacuate. We've got a lot of planes going over, dropping water, but standing in my driveway getting ready to evacuate.
Yeah, thankfully James Woods was able to get out. This is a video from his back deck. You can see of his deck on fire.
You're looking good. Your house is not on fire, but it's... I'm here in case some embers land on it. I hope all your windows are closed.
Yeah, that was, I guess, from one of his neighbors, but eventually later James Woods reported that he reported that he was getting updates from his fire alarms in his house, that his fire alarms were going off, so he believes that his house probably is destroyed. This is from actor Steve Guttenberg. Many of you might know him or remember him from the days that he was on, what was the Police Squad? It was the old comedy movie from the 1980s. And he was trying to help coordinate disaster response in Los Angeles yesterday, telling people that they should leave if they're going to leave their car behind, if they're going to evacuate their vehicles, that they should leave the keys in there so a guy like me can move your car so that the fire trucks can get up there. As you can see, they were using bulldozers to get cars out of the way in order to get the emergency vehicles through. Take a look at this. Police Academy. Thank you, John Rail. There you go. Hope you guys can forgive the slow internet today. We're just streaming live by the hair of our chinny chin chin. So this is why I have to be in the studio, because the studio has internet and I basically don't. I'm in rural Nowheresville. Thankfully, the Los Angeles fire chief seems to be displaying to us why we are all Los Angeles citizens are in good hands. Take a listen.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
That just kind of opens the door of people that thought, wow, I didn't even know that was an opportunity for me.
That's great. You know, I always like to know that the people who are in charge of public safety are concerned about the things that really matter. The LGBTQ fire chief of Los Angeles. Unbelievable. Absolutely ridiculous. The flames from the fire that broke out on Tuesday evening near a nature preserve in the inland foothills in Los Angeles spread so rapidly that their staff at a senior living center had to push dozens of residents in wheelchairs and hospital beds down the street to a parking lot. The residents, one who was as old as 102 years old, had to wait there in their bedclothes as the night sky around them glowed red and flames and embers fell around them until ambulance, buses, and even construction vans arrived to take them to safety. Another blaze that had started earlier ripped through the city's Pacific Palisades neighborhood. This is the hillside along the coast that's dotted with celebrity entrances. I'm told that Heidi Montag, I saw, lost her home entirely. Ben Affleck arrived back home to see that everything was on fire. Roadways became impassable when scores of people abandoned their vehicles and fled on foot Some were toting suitcases. The traffic jam on Palisades had prevented emergency vehicles that we saw in the video earlier from getting through. The bulldozer was brought in to push them all off of the road. Pacific Palisades resident Kelsey Trainer said the only road in and out of her neighborhood was blocked. Ash was falling all around them while fires burned on both sides of the road. If you're the praying type, today would be a good day to send up a prayer for those who are suffering or struggling or in danger still out in Los Angeles. Listeners are texting in this morning at 573-319-1586. Excuse me. 573-319-1586 is the text line. And I see some listeners are texting in this morning, asking me for technical advice on how to podcast. Can't really talk about that right now. I'm struggling myself just to keep my podcast up here on the Wake Up America show. Thanks so much for tuning in live for us, guys. And please understand that we are dealing with internet. I'm basically streaming the entire show, absolutely everything, all the videos you see and the show itself through my phone. So hopefully it holds up and we'll be able to get through the whole show today. Click the like button if you haven't already. Help support the Wake Up America show. We do have bonus content for you today. If you'd like to see today's bonus content, and I know many of you do, you can send us a text at every Rumble rant that is sent in today during the show or purchases made at forlibertyshop.com during the show will help to unlock the bonus content. If we hit $75 raised by the end of the show, I think we will unlock the bonus content and play that for you today instead of commercials whenever I have to go to a break to bring on a guest. And please, dear Lord, let the Zoom video work while we're streaming. Judge Andrew Napolitano, God willing, will be joining us live at 8 a.m. Central Time. I haven't spoken to him since before Christmas break. It'll be nice to talk to the judge. I wanted to get his take as a legal mind, a scholar, on the problems with the H-1B visa program. Remember all of that fight that broke out between the techno-libertarians, Elon Musk, and between the MAGA forces. A bit of a civil war over the holiday break. I haven't heard from Judge Napolitano, so let's talk to a lawyer about that this morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Hopefully everything works okay. Streaming shall be okay. And we'll be able to hear from Judge Andrew Napolitano this morning. I've got that. I've got a million billion clips, but hopefully if the internet works, then a million billion clips will be able to play. Judge Andrew Napolitano, again, joining us live at 8 a.m. Central Time. Donald Trump says the United States is about to see its golden age. The Wall Street Journal writes it thusly. President-elect Donald Trump's calls to take control of Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal reflect his fascination with a 21st century version of an old idea that great powers should carve out spheres of influence and defend their economic and security interests by imposing their will on smaller neighbors. That's how the Wall Street Journal That's how the Wall Street Journal reported on it. But my favorite part of Donald Trump's press conference yesterday had to be this moment. Please, internet work.
People are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. And they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. It makes no difference.
You love it. You love to see it. I'm actually really glad. I'm actually really thankful that Donald Trump is concerned about the water pressure situation as I am. Aren't you guys tired? If you're like me and you like to, commit federal crimes, or at least you like to defy federal statutes, then you got to go into your shower heads. So if you move into a new house or if you get new shower heads, you've got to take the shower head off and then remove the limiter that's in there to prevent you from getting the flow that you deserve. I mean, we have pretty good water pressure at our house here. But if you have bad water pressure where you live, you need to check your shower heads because, you might have the federal limiter in there. And to be quite frank, Greenland, okay, might be nice. Canada, not really super interested in Canada. Maybe Alberta. We could have Alberta and Saskatchewan. Panama Canal, maybe a good idea. But water, getting our water restored, our water pressure shortened, our precious showers, drip, drip, drip. It's called rain. It comes from the sky. It goes drip, drip, drip. I love watching Scott Jennings on CNN talking to him of the CNN panel, freaking out about Donald Trump's discussion about whether or not the United States should take Greenland.
But America is not an expansionist military power, not in the 21st
Not now, not yet anyway.
century.
Why?
Because
Why?
Why not?
Because that's not the world that we live in.
Wait, hold on, Scott. You answered that question.
Yes.
Why is the United States not?
So you're for attacking Greenland?
Why is the United States not an expansionist military power?
I said you're open to the idea of attacking Greenland?
We created.
No, we don't need to attack Greenland. We
Yeah.
can buy it.
Yeah.
You can't buy it. It's not up for sale.
We
So
helped
what you're saying is
create
not
a
true.
world order.
Nothing.
in which-
Everything's not for sale until
Hang
it
on,
is.
Scott. We helped create a world order in which we
Everything's not for sale. So I love this attitude from this guy. This is the kind of attitude I want. And for those of you who read my libertarian nationalist manifesto recently, you might note that in there I do discuss expansionism and doing so in a manner which is in accordance with libertarian principles, like Scott Jennings is talking about here, buying Greenland, which is, I think, fairly reasonable proposal. Or again, I don't know why anybody isn't talking about this. I feel like I'm kind of shouting into the void here. I'm waiting for like some conservative woman with huge boobs, a nice rack, to post what I have already said and to take credit for it when I wrote that we need to just be engaging with these countries and asking them to hold referendums, hold like a provincial referendum. So in Alberta, for example, we need to ask the residents, the citizens of Alberta, to make a move democratically to hold referendums. Cuba needs a referendum. Greenland needs a referendum. Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia. I used the Animaniacs thing in high school or middle school to try and memorize the Canadian provinces, but now I can't remember it. Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, Northwest Territories, Quebec, something like that. Anyways, how many territories are there? Somebody remind me about the provinces. Bruce Birtwhistle, Canadian, in the chat. Good morning, sir. Nice to see you. I mean, listen, we're not talking. I mean, they're talking about buying Greenland. I'm saying, like, why even buy it? Just hold a vote. Again, if they believe in democracy so much, and the UN is always trying to get these oppressed nations to hold referendums. Remember when Iraq had the votes and they were just trumpeting for days that the women with the purple thumbs were going in to vote? Why can't we get Greenlanders and why can't we get Albertans or Saskatoons? Is that what they call themselves? Saskatoons? Why can't we get Saskatoons and why can't we get Greenlanders and Cubans? Well, the United Nations is not going to encourage Cubans to hold a referendum and give themselves the chance to vote to become the 51st state in the United States. Why not? Why not? Right? I like Scott Jennings' attitude here.
He said, you cannot just decide you want that country and then take your military and go into that country and take it. Okay? So that is the era of not being in an expansionist military era for the United States. And you're saying that's not true. Why is it not true?
Well, I mean, you could think small if you want to. I think Trump's thinking big, and he's thinking about U.S. interests.
Yes.
There are U.S. interests in Greenland.
Thank
they have rare
you.
earth minerals. We already have some kind of space facility there, and it would help fortify us against the Russians. The Panama Canal is, of course, of interest when you consider the Chinese incursions and influence in this hemisphere. What Donald Trump is saying to the world is, we are not a shrinking violet anymore.
Yes.
We are the United States of America. We're the preeminent superpower, and reporters keep asking him to rule things out and take things off the table.
Yeah, no.
And it would be the height of stupidity to do so.
Agreed.
Now or to anything else before he takes office. Why would he tell the rest of the world what he may or may not do?
Here's one reason
Yes,
why.
thank you. See the way for us to fight these America is an imperialist colonialist power is to advocate for an expansionist colonial power because it drives them absolutely insane. See, I think that I thought Donald Trump's press conference yesterday was some of the best stand-up comedy I've seen in years. Brad and I were sitting in here in the office yesterday, and we were laughing our asses off at Donald Trump. I mean, it's better than any Netflix comedy special is to watch Donald Trump do this, and he's sending these people into tizzies, right? And they're asking him, "Oh, are you going to like sign off on military power?" He's like, "I'm not going to answer that." I've got the clip of that somewhere here, but hold on, let's see if I can find it. Oh, I've got John Fetterman's conversations yesterday talking about what he was going to say. Oh, and by the way, Donald Trump completely correct about the Panama Canal. Never should have sold it. I mean, for $1, the biggest ripoff ever. And he's right. These Chinese companies, they're getting charged less than they're charging us, the United States, who built it. Right. And it's a total tragedy. We should have never gotten rid of the Panama Canal. How do we get the Panama Canal back without a war? I don't know.
And we think we're going to do some really great things. Really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do.
Stupid.
It was the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. Mm-hmm. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they've morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. It had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China. And makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through. And the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over.
Good. Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it, honestly. I see some conversations going on in the chat, and I think, Joni Rankin, she's definitely right to be concerned about the question of imperialism. But I mean, it's not imperialism if you buy it, right? So it's like when the United States bought, the Louisiana Purchase, right? It wasn't imperialism for the United States to acquire land. It's not imperialism for the United States to consider buying Greenland. And the way to have a non-imperialistic approach to acquiring Cuba or Greenland or portions of Canada, again, is to legitimize it through democratic action, right? So if you want to avoid the fear of, it's going to be a military takeover, which I would agree with you would be more imperialistic. The problem, of course, with the whole America as an empire issue is that, first of all, Jefferson conceived the United States as an empire of liberty. And second of all, is that in empires, the vassal states, you subjugate states, and then those states pay you tribute, but we don't do that. Instead, if we subjugate states, we send them money, and it's like it's a reverse empire, shittiest empire the world has ever seen, if there was an empire. Donald Trump commented on these issues and more. He also talked about some of our friends in the January 6th investigation. Take a listen.
President, two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the...
Hey, Mr. President, we reported it here on the Wake Up America show, right, guys? Come on. Whoa, 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 it's magic, you know.
The FBI, they had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons, yes.
Thank you for that clip, Alex Jones. Yeah, I know a few J6ers, and frankly, I'm really hoping that he follows through on his promise to pardon them on day one. I for one, am looking forward to going scuba diving in the newly minted Gulf of America.
$60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can.
Okay, first of all right, so let's get a poll in the chat. How many of you all agree that we should change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America? Give us a cheer in the chat. And if not for all the no's, give us a boo. I, for one, am excited about going for a swim and going on my next vacation in the Gulf of America. Woohoo! All right.
Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, good morning. My name is Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here. Please click the like button on the stream if today is your first time watching the Wake Up America show. I am streaming live on my mobile phone from my shoe and coat closet. So hopefully the internet works well today. Help us to grow the show and unlock today's bonus content. Looks like we are towards our $75 goal. We have raised not much money at all. So
Can you bless me with something? Oh, gosh. Money-wise.
Can you bless me with something money-wise? Get those Rumble rants in, guys. Let's start building up towards that $75 goal. $1, $5, $10, $50, or hell, just hit that $75 mark ASAP so we can unlock the bonus content on the Wake Up America show. There's 2 ways that you can unlock bonus content. 1, make Rumble rants donations during the show. The second way is, in my opinion, it's a lot more fun, but it's up to you. If you like to do a little shoppity, head on over to forlibertyshop.com. That's the merch store for the Wake Up America show's live stream. You can get all kinds of delicious teas. Our new patriotic teas are available. And Tamara, our friend Tamara, like camera, Tamzilla from Georgia, was saying that it was the best Earl Grey tea she's ever had in her life. Our For Liberty collection is steeped in patriotism. You can get delicious teas like our Peach Republic or Jasmine Rising. Grey's Revolt, if you're a fan of Earl Grey, she says this was the best Earl Grey tea, again, she's ever had in her life. My favorite is the Boston Harbor Black. Did you know that during the Boston Tea Party, that black tea, the English breakfast style like we have here, the black tea was what they threw in the harbor, and accounting for inflation and the exchange currency rates there, the amount of black tea that they threw into the harbor for the Boston Tea Party was worth millions of dollars of tea thrown into the Boston Harbor. This tea is so good, you will not want to throw it into the harbor. So get yourself some Boston Harbor Black or any of our teas by going to 4libertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. And if we hit $75 raised through purchases, combined with Rumble Rants, then we will unlock the bonus content for the show today. We also have incredible Department of Government Efficiency hoodies. Baby, it's cold outside. You can get a hoodie at 4libertyshop.com and support the Department of Government Efficiency. What say you, my friends? Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good to very nice. Good morning, pineapples. Looking very good to very nice. Donald Trump pushes to end what he calls the bizarre practice of election seasons. Take a listen.
What we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. There are places where they're still counting votes.
Yes, thank you. It's enough. Oh, yeah, John Fetterman was really making the rounds yesterday after some of his comments about how he would vote on the confirmation of people like Tulsi Gabbard for Donald Trump's cabinet. Take a listen.
Is this Tulsi Gabbard one of the nominees that you could vote for?
Well, I met with her. In fact, I think I've met with virtually all of them. And the ones that I haven't, they're on my schedule, RFK and Governor Noem. So I'm happy to meet with all of them. And that's also part of this. I don't know why that was controversial. I mean, I got a lot of blowback just, even to meet with them. And to me, I see that as just doing my job. And I'm going to have a conversation with anyone that would like to have a conversation with me. And if someone believed everything that's been written or said about me was true, I mean, you can't possibly know me, or I think I could know her either, just based on someone read. But I want to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm really glad that I've done that. And some of these nominees I'm going to vote for already. In fact, whether it's our colleague Rubio, our Representative Stefanik, or even Sean Duffy, I expect to vote for him as well too, and Brooke Rollins for agriculture. Yeah. So there's a lot of them I can say right now here on Fox. I'm going to vote for them. But there's others, but that we're going to go through the process. But I'm open to hear from everyone, and I don't know why that's controversial. And I also would like to remind everyone on the Democratic side, that's the way democracy works. Trump won, and now they're going to run the table, and so they get to pick those kinds of people. And if you don't have to agree with all of it, but I want to find a way to work together on a bunch of them.
And I want to
Wow. And if that wasn't enough, he took a flamethrower to the Democrats' freakouts recently over Greenland. Listen to what John Fetterman had to say about Greenland. Take a listen.
There's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it, and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana Purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too. $50 million, I think it was. It was recorded. It was
thank you.
As Seward's Folly. And now that was Alaska now. So, I mean, open to having all kinds of conversations as well.
Thank you.
And, I don't think it's not helpful to freak out.
Thank you. Common sense. They're freaking out over nothing. Right? What would be wrong with acquiring more land? So the United States has always been very shrewd in making land deals. My only real problem with the acquisitions of land that have occurred is that the federal government will buy this land and then not turn it over to private citizens. Although the nice thing about Donald Trump's press conference yesterday is that he was saying specifically that we wanted to drill in Anwar because the Biden administration on the way out was issuing this blanket ban of offshore drilling. And Donald Trump's like, no, it's like 600 million acres that was placed away from us being able to develop. He's talking like $36 trillion or something of value that could, more than the national debt, could be paid off with the value of what exists and what the United States can exploit. I mean, and thank God that there are at least a few Democrats like Senator John Fetterman who aren't absolutely freaking out, who don't freak out when somebody just poses an idea that seems like a huge idea. But here's the thing that I really like about this. About what Donald Trump is doing, talking about Greenland. I mean, the joke, Canada is obviously a joke, right? But Panama Canal, maybe not. But it's like, he's talking, what really got me excited was that it was just so positive. I mean, Donald Trump's talking about bringing the United States back to a golden era. I mean, and if I was president of the United States, no matter how dark things may be, I would help to chart a path to get the United States back on its feet again. How do we get out of a Jimmy Carter-esque national malaise, crisis of confidence era, inflationary era, into an era of a golden age? And Trump is trying to chart us a course for national greatness, which I think is admirable, and it's definitely applause-worthy. Give people hope. Give people hope, I have to say. And I congratulate Senator John Fetterman for thinking big, right? Thinking about the possibilities of what we can accomplish if the United States thinks big. In order to be big, you have to think big. You have to act big. You have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. It's like Stephanie and I are having these conversations a lot lately with like new marketing aspects of the business. And I'm just, she's like, nobody else does this, Austin. Like, nobody else is doing this. And I'm like, that's why we should be doing it, because our competitors aren't doing it. It's this mentality: observe the herd, do the opposite. The rest of the world is like, oh, imperialism, colonialism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh, Pakistani rape gangs. Oh, that's totally fine. We don't want to be racist. So we go the other way. They go gay. We go mega super heterosexual. We're buying Greenland. You know what I'm saying? Like, we go the opposite. Observe the herd, do the opposite. If their wrist goes limp, ours goes strong.
But some things might work out, some may not, but that's part of an ongoing dialogue. But he hasn't even taken office in 2 weeks, and we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. Because, but
that's good. That's a good one, John. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, we are here to work together. Yeah. And some things you can agree or disagree, but I think that's how DC works.
You love to see it. Good job. Good for you, Senator John Fetterman. He also had something to say about Democrats not voting to pass the Laken Riley Act.
Like, it's really common sense. And I'd like to remind everybody that we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of migrants here illegally that have convicted of crimes. And why, I don't know why, who wants to defend that, to allow them to remain in our nation? That. And now, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go.
Do you think that this was one of, if not the biggest issue for this election?
Well, I think if we can't, there's 47 of us in the Senate, and if we can't pull up with 7 votes, if we can't get at least 7 out of 47, and if we can't, then that's the reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's one of why we lost, in part.
Go ahead. Dang, that's Senator John Fetterman there talking about the Laken Riley Act here. Man, you love to see it. I got to see. Let's see what I got. A few more things for the press conference. Judge Napolitano is joining us here in about 12 minutes. Reporters were asking him about whether or not military force would be on the table to take Greenland. Here's how he responded, and then I'll break down why I think it was a great response. Hello, internet. Do we have audio here?
I don't talk about it. The military strategy. It's not. It's only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I thought this was about Greenland. They were talking about asking about using military force to take Greenland, but this one here was talking about whether or not it was a preemptive strike on Iran. and he says that I don't want to talk about it. It's a military strategy. See, the way that you have to handle these kinds of things when it comes to a question of military strategy is, first of all, the way that he answered it, I wouldn't answer it either, right? Absolutely not. You want your enemies to think that everything is on the table, even if personally you know that there's a red line that you wouldn't necessarily cross, right? But what you never want to do is, unless you're absolutely willing to use violence, right, is to tell people what your red line is. But you have to set an internal limit. What is it that you're willing to do to try and accomplish your goals in order to secure the national defense of the United States? Trump says, it's a military question. I'm not going to answer that, but obviously a brilliant strategy. But you don't want to say, no, a preemptive strike on Iran would never happen. It's totally and completely off of the table, like some stupid Democrat would. That's a military strategy. You don't say that. Even if that's what you actually think or believe, you don't say something like that one. Yes. So, and here's the question. Here's the response that he had in regards to the question of whether or not he would use military or economic coercion to take Greenland. And this is another perfect example of what I was just talking about. Take a listen.
And the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what
Good.
your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to answer that one for President Trump there. 10 more minutes until Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us here live on the Wake Up America show. Please do click that like button. We'd love to have you become a regular guest on the Wake Up America show. We stream this show live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. We have raised $0 towards the $75 goal so far.
Can you bless me with something?
Ouch.
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise. So please do get those Rumble Rant donations in today. We're going to take a break here in about 5 minutes so I can go get Judge Andrew Napolitano. Back on the topic of Donald Trump, they're like, will you commit to not using military force against Greenland to take it? They say, no, don't commit to that. Don't commit to that. Even if you wouldn't do it, don't say you wouldn't do it, right? You always want to keep your opponents guessing. You always want to keep people constantly keep their feet shuffling, right? It's like a refrigerator, right? It's running all the time. Tap, 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 tap. You want to keep the people who are trying to throw sand in your gears always defending, attack, so that they're constantly on the defensive, constantly having to defend themselves, right? So that they don't have time to launch their own attacks. I think Donald Trump displays this strategy beautifully. Maybe the best I've ever seen it. I wanted to talk about Mark Zuckerberg and his comments yesterday on X. That's a 5-minute video, and I want to do a reaction to it. Of course, Joy Reid from The View was commenting. She was very distraught about Mark Zuckerberg saying that he's going to have some free speech over on Meta, but I don't know if I actually believe him. Thank you, Cecilia, for that Rumble rant. Woohoo! That's great. We appreciate that. That's $5 down towards the $75 goal. If we hit that 75, oh, Andy Opperman, there we go. Thanks, brother. We appreciate you. So 75 minus 15 is $60 left until we hit that bonus content goal today. You guys want to definitely see that one. So if you want to unlock the bonus content, then get those Rumble Rant donations in. In about 2 minutes, we're going to go to a brief. Break while I go get Judge Andrew Napolitano. We're going to talk to him a little bit about the H-1B visa situation. This morning, we've been talking about the California wildfires. We've been talking about Greenland, the purchase of Greenland. We've been talking with about Senator John Fetterman and his completely reasonable discussions surrounding all those topics and more. So if you guys want to continue this to help the Wake Up America show continue to grow, you can do so for free. You don't, not all of our pineapples necessarily have to donate. To donate. If you guys want to help support the Wake Up America show, you can do so just by clicking that like button. If you want to contact me and talk to me personally directly, either live during the show or even later, if you're listening to the audio podcast version later, you can contact us by sending us a text at 573-319-1586. Again, the text lines are open at 573-319-1586. I see you there, burnt toast space girlfriend. Thank you very much for your generosity. Don't say it's so little. It's a lot. We're still suffering under Bidenomics, by the way. So I think the $5 is great. I mean, $5 for a live stream so you can watch a show and that you ordinarily could get for free, I think is very generous. So thank you to Andy Opperman, Cecilia H., and Burnt Toast Space Girlfriend for working towards unlocking that bonus content. All right, so it's 7:54. I'm gonna go to our commercial break. When we get back, Judge Andrew Napolitano to talk to us about H-1B visas and what does he think about Donald Trump's remarks on Greenland. We'll talk about all that when we get back on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.
Were you exposed to hazardous materials while serving in the military and have an illness or condition as a result?
If so, you may be eligible for VA benefits and services.
Whether you need health care or want to file a disability compensation claim related to military exposures, VA is here to help.
Visit va.gov/military-exposures to learn more and apply today.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
Good morning, pineapples. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here. We're still streaming live from the coat closet on a wing and a prayer with my cell phone, mobile data. Unfortunately, Judge Andrew Napolitano is running late. He says that he is on air on Newsmax right now, so he has to come and join us at 9:30. He's got this new contract, this new deal with Newsmax, and so he's kind of like, he's like contractually obligated to like react to breaking news and do all that kind of fun stuff. Thankfully, Andy Opperman unlocked the bonus content for you guys. Thanks, Andy. Man, where would we be without Andy? Not streaming live, that's for sure. Thanks so much to Andy Opperman, who unlocked the bonus content. I'll play it for you guys right now. You get to enjoy it, and then I'll be right back, and we'll hang out until Judge Napolitano comes. We'll switch our topics. We'll talk about Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, censorship, suppression when we get back. Enjoy the bonus content, and we'll be right back.
The truth about drinking and cancer. Is your glass of wine with dinner putting your health at risk? Recently, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy sounded an alarm linking alcohol to cancer. But how accurate are these claims? Let's dive into the facts and fiction. Trump administration. The atmosphere is electric. Americans from all walks of life are watching closely as Donald Trump prepares for another term. Will this new administration fulfill their dreams or stir new debates? The stakes are high, and everyone is eager to see how history unfolds. Trump's presidency remains controversial yet compelling. As the American public holds diverse expectations, the emphasis is clear. They're looking for bold leadership to tackle immigration, boost the economy, and secure the nation. Can Trump bridge divisions and meet these challenges head-on? Immigration reform ranks as a top concern. Many citizens expect Trump to crack down on illegal immigration and revamp border policies. Expectations are high for a stronger border and a streamlined immigration system. Meanwhile, progressives argue for more humane policies. Amid passionate debates, the public urges the government to find balanced solutions that unify the nation while addressing real issues effectively. Trump's first presidency sparked optimistic views on the economy. Many Americans anticipate renewed focus on job creation, tax cuts, and entrepreneurial growth. The American dream feels closer for many, but only if progress is sustained. Increased manufacturing jobs and fair trade remained Republican talking points. As optimism grows, the administration must prove they can deliver tangible results amid a complex global economy. Public concern about national security weighs heavily. Confidence in Trump's tough rhetoric and policies during his previous term has encouraged many to hope for a safer nation. Protecting borders and combating terrorism rank high on voters' priorities. Critics question whether his strategies align with the modern geopolitical landscape. Can America defend itself while building alliances that sustain peace? While many embrace Trump's leadership, others call for more unity. Political divides run deep, and there's skepticism about whether his administration can mend relationships across party lines. Widespread polarization could challenge the administration and the nation as a whole. Healing America will require more than policy changes. It involves rebuilding trust. The challenge lies in connecting with every American, regardless of party affiliation. Trump's environmental policies remain under scrutiny, particularly from Democrats who prioritize climate action. The apprehension among some highlights the public's divided expectations. Will this administration take meaningful steps towards sustainability? On healthcare, answers are needed. While Republicans aim to adjust spending, voters seek accessible healthcare systems that work for all Americans. Hopes are high but tempered with practical concerns. Trump's ability to rally his supporters gives him an advantage in confidence ratings. Many Americans see his bold, unyielding personality as a strength. Can this confidence translate into effective governance and widespread approval? Winning public trust might just be his secret weapon in navigating tough political landscapes. Leadership that aligns with voter priorities will be key. The public's diverse hopes call for bold leadership and strategic action. Will the Trump administration rise to the occasion, or will challenges derail momentum? America stands at a crossroads. Together, citizens and leaders have a chance to shape the future. Let's keep watching, speaking out, and holding leadership accountable. America's next chapter depends on us.
Why would conservatives think fact-checking is biased against them? I mean, what are you sharing if you keep getting fact-checked for false information? Think about it. What were conservatives sharing on Meta that was getting flagged so much? Were they spreading false information? And why were they so eager? And why are Republicans in general so eager to end the idea of fact-checking? What are they trying to share? What is the motivation for not wanting it to be fact-checked?
I was sharing a meme of Jeffrey Dahmer saying, "No one can tell me how many people I can have for Thanksgiving dinner." Hey guys, good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Yeah, this is a great job. It's cold outside, guys. I can't make it to the studio, which means the internet kind of sucks. Hopefully things will change and improve. Although it doesn't look like it. I might be stuck in the closet for quite some time. Hey, not that kind of closet, guys. Calm down. Why does everything have to be so sexual? What kind of things were you trying to post on Meta, guys? What are you worried about fact checking? Well, you know, it's not that fact check. Here's the thing. Here's a fact check for you. Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. I posted Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong on Facebook a day before a jury of his peers acquitted him and said that he did nothing wrong. 4 month ban. 4 months banned from Facebook because I said Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. And then a jury found that he did nothing wrong. And how come Facebook didn't restore my account after that? Because the fact checkers, they certainly weren't fact checking their own facts. Mark Zuckerberg now stepping into the game. The Democratic left no longer has a stranglehold over big tech. You'll love to see it. One result of Donald Trump's victory there. And in a mea culpa for the ages, CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Tuesday walked back most of the platform's speech controls. He said, we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. You love to see it. But do you believe him? Do you believe him is really the big question. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Guys, don't forget to click that like button. We've got a couple hundred people watching the Wake Up America show over on Rumble. I have no idea how many are watching us on X. The equivalent of the like button over on X is the heart button, I believe, but also a nice little repost of the X stream if you're watching this over there would be very kind. It's a free way to help support the show. You can send me a text. Let us know what's on your mind at 573-319-1586. You get all the fun stuff on the Wake Up America show. We also get to laugh at all the funny, like Joy Reid making up lies about fact checkers. Somebody fact check Joy Reid over here. I'm laughing at this article from the New York Times titled, Meta says fact checkers were the problem. Fact checkers rule that false. Oh, I can't find my my Price is Right sad trombone this morning here, guys. I wanted to push that one. And here is Mark Zuckerberg's discussion yesterday, looking much more Chad-like, less reptilian, much more Chad-like. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Your roots?
I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown.
No, you
5
didn't.
years.
You gave us you started Facebook so that you could make friends with people at Harvard.
Ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also...
I like that he calls it legacy media, though. That's very strategic. Very strategic. It's good.
A lot of legitimately bad stuff out there.
True.
Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again...
I wish I could show you my Instagram on my phone right now. Maybe I can. Hold on. Let's see if... no, I can't because that's what I'm using to stream this show on. But if you look at my Instagram right now, it's like all warnings. It's like page after page of warnings. And it came... Like these warnings had been there since before this censorship regime apparently ended. Although I think someone said the F word the other day, not like... F-U-C-K, but they said the F, the bundle of sticks word, and they still got censored over there on Meta. So you can't say that. You can say that on X. You can't say that on, definitely can't say it on YouTube. So we are streaming on YouTube today. How many of you watching this over? About 12 people watching this on YouTube. I don't want to get suppressed or censored even more on YouTube. I've already been demonetized over there, but I'm right on the edge of getting demonetized over on Instagram, so I'm just trying to watch that.
Prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
Remember when Elon bought X and then Zuck started up Threads and nobody used Threads, and then Elon started up where you have to pay for a blue check on X, and then Facebook and Instagram immediately said you have to pay for a blue check. And now Elon did community notes. Now Mark Zuckerberg's doing community notes. We know who's really the trailblazer these days in social media.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. They tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created.
I love that. Because who's he calling out there? He's calling out the Associated Press. He's calling out PolitiFact. He's calling out USA Today, and they are biased. Reuters, AP, USA Today, all of these sort of like, well, we call them legacy media, these legacy media institutions, they're freaking out about this, man.
Especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system.
Yeah.
Second, we're going to simplify our content.
Exactly. I love it. Listen, like if I get it wrong, fine. Like it happens, right? Like every once in a while, like I will misreport something, right? Or, we'll post a meme that wasn't properly fact checked. It happens, right? But don't like take away my ability to speak, right? Everybody gets it wrong. And like what happens when the fact checkers get it wrong, right? Well, this is, I guess, what happens here, right? So, Judge Napolitano is messaging me saying he's available at 30 after the hour. Okay, great. That's good to hear, Judge. We'll get the judge here in 15 minutes. I will send you a message link at 9:25 a.m. Eastern time. Judge Rooney. There we go. Judge Napolitano will be joining us here. That's right. You're the best, Judge. That's right. Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei.
The judge was my sensei, and now I am the master. No, Judge Napolitano will be joining us at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Talk a little bit about the H-1B visas. I promise you're going to hate it. But it's good to hear the libertarian side of things. Judge Napolitano's anarcho-capitalist views when it comes to immigration. Hope it should be interesting. Sort of a techno-libertarian. Is that what Mark Zuckerberg is becoming these days?
Policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms.
Oh, yeah. Reduce the mistakes. I mean, again, if you look at my Instagram account right now, it's just every single video that we post, especially if it mentions Donald Trump in the caption, is like violation of community standards. It's like, this is dangerous. And it's like, I'm so close to getting demonetized on Instagram again. YouTube already got me. But Instagram, like it's like they're so close. I wonder if they're gonna like take me out before they get there. And for those of you who know my history with Facebook and Instagram, remember I used to have huge accounts over on Facebook, and I've since pretty much stopped using it. But when I was running for public office, they were censoring me on that platform. They were suppressing me. They were donating to my would-be Democratic opponent, Claire McCaskill, and then suppressing me on that platform. And then remember when I was doing raffle gun giveaways, they're probably not going to let you do what I used to do when I used to advertise. I wasn't like giving it away on Facebook necessarily. I wasn't like going to the Facebook marketplace and selling a gun. I was just advertising my website where people could come in and they could, toss in a ticket for a raffle to be able to win an AR-15. And that one got me. That's when they really started coming after me hard. And actually, I remember I fought back because they did it. They suppressed me. They suspended me twice during my Senate campaigns, during my Senate campaign. And both times I actually fought back and got the ban overturned, because at those times it was like 30 days, not ban, but suspension, overturned both times because it was 30-day suspensions. And 30 days in a campaign is a long time, because a lot of times some campaigns, they only last maybe like 4 months, maybe 9 months max.
We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations.
Right.
And for lower-severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action.
Oh, great.
The problem is that the filters make mistakes.
Yeah, the filters absolutely make mistakes. But the problem, too, is that you get these people mass brigading you. And it's not just libshits, right? It's not just left liberals who are doing this mass reporting. It's conservatives that don't like what libertarians have to say sometimes either.
And they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce...
Like, imagine, for example, like there's this huge battle going on between Thomas Massey and this DC Drano guy online, right? Either one of them, you know, I'm sure Thomas Massey wouldn't do it, but I mean, he could, right? Is either one of them could just do a mass report of the other and have them then taken down. And that's another problem with enforcement, is like the reporting functions.
Amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content.
What's that?
For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So there you go. See, they're admitting that they were suppressing our content. So yeah, that was I mean, if you go to my Facebook page, it's like a ghost town, right? Like any of the stuff that I'm posting, like high quality memes, high quality videos and clips of news updates and things that people want to see. It's not just like jokey, memey content. A lot of the stuff that I post there is real news. I used to stream the Wake Up America show over there too. And I used to put like a lot of good, useful political content out on Facebook, but no more.
But it feels like we're in a new era now. And
Good.
We're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again.
Yeah.
So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive.
Good.
Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas.
Holy shit! Whoa! Oh, that might be the biggest admission out of all of this. When they're taking their content moderation teams, they're taking them out of California and they're moving them to Texas. Now, is it Austin, Texas? Because you're just trading one form of leftist tyranny with another form of leftist tyranny. Make sure that they're far outside of Austin, Texas. If it has to be near a metropolitan area, maybe Houston or Dallas, you know, on the outskirts of those metros, but like, you know, go east, young man, and find you some good land in Texas. I mean, why can't we attract this kind of stuff in Missouri, dang it?
As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies.
Good.
And pushing to censor more. The
Good.
U.S. has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship.
This is a big problem. This is a serious challenge that these... And you kind of don't want to be in Mark Zuckerberg's shoes other than money-wise. Money-wise, bless me with something, Mark Zuckerberg. Because think about this. You have to have a platform that you want to have free speech and free expression on, but then overseas, they're arresting people for what are posting on your platforms, right? So it's kind of like, this is a real challenge that they have to deal with. And they get pressure from governments. I mean, not just the American government, like with what we saw with the Twitter files, Matt Taibbi and others, what we saw was dropped by Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss. But the platforms get pressure from governments like Qatar or Saudi Arabia, things like that. And it's like, how do you manage a platform all over the world? I mean, it's a tricky subject. I know that a lot of people are just like, oh, well, just don't have them, have the platform in that country. And, Rumble has taken those kinds of brave stands. I applaud them, but not everybody wants. Some people don't want that. I mean, in China, they don't allow Facebook or X or any of those platforms anyway, right? They had to ban it. But Brazil brought X back, from what I've heard.
And making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down.
Yeah.
China has censored our apps from even working in the country.
Yeah.
The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the U.S. government.
Correct. Yeah, they do need it.
That's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the U.S. government has pushed for censorship.
Yeah.
By going after us and other American companies,
this is big.
It has emboldened other governments to go even further.
Wow.
But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
This is huge. This is enormous.
It'll take time.
If any of it is true, I mean, a lot of it is true just from a factual perspective. But I mean, if his mea culpa is actually legitimate, this is enormous.
To get this right,
and this is because let me just get this right for all the people out there who are like poo-pooing the whole, Donald Trump, libertarians, and all this kind of stuff. We had to elect Donald Trump for this to happen. This was not going to happen if we did not elect Donald Trump as president of the United States. In order for us to be able to get these kinds of cultural shifts and changes, Trump had to become president of the United States because, as he's saying here, they needed the support of the American government to be able to counteract the problems that they have with foreign governments, right? They needed the diplomatic tools to be on their side because the U.S. government he's saying that during the Biden administration also wanted censorship, also wanted this. If we hadn't elected Donald Trump, we'd be in a different place today. So kudos to you guys. I mean, this is a big deal, right? You wouldn't be able to say things like,
I hate immigrants, gays, the crippled. God, I really hate the crippled. I can't stand unions, cops, old ladies.
Excuse me? That might be going a little far. What's wrong with old ladies? Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good and very nice. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. I'm glad that you're here. 200 people watching the Wake Up America Show live. That's great. We love to see it. We'd love to see you again tomorrow. The Wake Up America Show streams live Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. The Wake Up America Show streams live on Rumble and on X and on other platforms that we don't claim. We hope that you guys will join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. That's the number 4, AP4Liberty. Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us next to talk about the H-1Bs. Immigration, beware. He's for open borders. It's gonna get spicy. You might not like it, but you might like it. Sometimes it's good to hear things that you may agree or disagree. We'll hear the judge. All rise. Judge Napolitano when we get back on the Wake Up America Show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Trump administration. The atmosphere is electric. Americans from all walks of life are watching closely as Donald Trump prepares for another term. Will this new administration fulfill their dreams or stir new debates? The stakes are high, and everyone is eager to see how history unfolds. Trump's presidency remains controversial yet compelling. As the American public holds diverse expectations, the emphasis is clear. They're looking for bold leadership to tackle immigration, boost the economy, and secure the nation. Can Trump bridge divisions and meet these challenges head-on? Immigration reform ranks as a top concern. Many citizens expect Trump to crack down on illegal immigration and revamp border policies. Expectations are high for a stronger border and a streamlined immigration system. Meanwhile, progressives argue for more humane policies. Amid passionate debates, the public urges the government to find balanced solutions that unify the nation while addressing real issues effectively. Trump's first presidency sparked optimistic views on the economy. Many Americans anticipate renewed focus on job creation, tax cuts, and entrepreneurial growth. The American dream feels closer for many, but only if progress is sustained. Increased manufacturing jobs and fair trade remained Republican talking points. As optimism grows, the administration must prove they can deliver tangible results amid a complex global economy. Public concern about national security weighs heavily. Confidence in Trump's tough rhetoric and policies during his previous term has encouraged many to hope for a safer nation. Protecting borders and combating terrorism rank high on voters' priorities. Critics question whether his strategies align with the modern geopolitical landscape. Can America defend itself while building alliances that sustain peace? While many embrace Trump's leadership, others call for more unity. Political divides run deep, and there's skepticism about whether his administration can mend relationships across party lines. Widespread polarization could challenge the administration and the nation as a whole. Healing America will require more than policy changes. It involves rebuilding trust. The challenge lies in connecting with every American, regardless of party affiliation. Trump's environmental policies remain under scrutiny, particularly from Democrats who prioritize climate action. The apprehension among some highlights the public's divided expectations. Will this administration take meaningful steps towards sustainability? On healthcare, answers are needed. While Republicans aim to adjust spending, voters seek accessible healthcare systems that work for all Americans. Hopes are high but tempered with practical concerns. Trump's ability to rally his supporters gives him an advantage in confidence ratings. Many Americans see his bold, unyielding personality as a strength. Can this confidence translate into effective governance and widespread approval? Winning public trust might just be his secret weapon in navigating tough political landscapes. Leadership that aligns with voter priorities will be key. The public's diverse hopes call for bold leadership and strategic action. Will the Trump administration rise to the occasion, or will challenges derail momentum? America stands at a crossroads. Together, citizens and leaders have a chance to shape the future. Let's keep watching, speaking out, and holding leadership accountable. America's next chapter depends on us.
While serving in the military and have an illness or condition as a result.
If so, you may be eligible for VA benefits and services.
Whether you need health care or want to file a disability compensation claim related to military exposures, VA is here to help.
Visit va.gov/military-exposures to learn more and apply today.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? that you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're glad and thankful to have you here. We have promised you Judge Andrew Napolitano, and now we deliver. Let's hear from Mr. Judge Andrew Napolitano. First time that we've heard him today, since Christmas break. He's on the phone with us today. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Austin. Sorry for the technical glitches, but it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yep, glad to have you here, Judge. A humongous civil war broke out during the break between what the media was calling the techno-libertarians, the people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, versus the MAGA forces on the question of the H-1B visa system. And it really took a lot out of Elon Musk. I heard he actually kind of backed off his position a little bit, but I'm curious about how you felt about this political situation. What was your take on what Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk were saying and the concept of the H-1B visa in general, Judge? And welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. A belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your beautiful family and to your wonderful audience. Well, look, I am opposed to central planning of any type, central planning of the economy and central planning of American borders. So my position is if you want to come here, come. And if you have a PhD from Stanford, go get the job that hires PhDs from Stanford. The federal government should have nothing to do with it. Now, that is not the law as it is, and that's not the country as we know it. The H-1B visas, as I understand it, are for foreign people who meet unique requirements that American employers want to fill. The federal government should have nothing to do with their ability to do that. I have a skill. I was born in Naples, Italy, and you're in Jefferson City, Missouri. You want to pay me to deliver that skill? What business is that of the government? So that's the way I look at it. It appears as though Trump, whose views on immigration are antediluvian, nevertheless sided with his H-1B billionaire buddies on this one, and I'm happy he did.
I mean, it's kind of shocking to see how vociferously he was supporting the H-1B program, considering his views on immigration. But I mean, he has said things like that in the past. But I mean, do you think that he was just that he truly believes it, or is he just trying to keep Elon Musk in? Is it a political feint, or do you think that he would probably prefer to get rid of the program altogether?
You know, you never know with politicians in general whether they believe what they're saying, and Donald Trump is probably no different. He's not a person with deep, serious, ideological, intellectual, or moral views, and he can change his mind at the drop of a hat. He has famously boasted that he never read a book since he graduated from the University of Pennsylvania 60 years ago. So who knows what he what he truly believes. But in this instance, notwithstanding the unconstitutional, overbearing, and counterproductive and immoral government regulation, he's come down on the right side.
Embedded in this conversation, Judge, was a discussion that was brought up by Vivek Ramaswamy about the problems of the American workforce. And I mean, you're familiar with hiring, Judge. I've hiring and firing, and I've had to do some of that in my business, running my business over the years. And Vivek Ramaswamy talked about American culture, where the workforce is trying to push for things like now, instead of 5-day work days, they want 4-day work days. And they're talking about doing fully remote, and they make demands on their employers to be fully remote. And they also do things like saying, oh, well, we're going to do quiet quitting, a term that you might be familiar with. Forgive me if you don't know, I can tell you what that is, but assuming that...
No, I never heard of quiet quitting.
Okay, sure. So quiet quitting is a term that has been coined in just like the last 7 or 8 months, where employees, where they're tired of doing more than their actual jobs, meaning that if they were hired to do a job, then they will do that job and that job alone and no more. So they're not like slacking, they're just doing the job that they were hired for rather than trying to kind of like go above and beyond. And this concept is called quiet quitting. So the attitude towards work has changed a lot since the pandemic, Judge. So people were accusing Vivek Ramaswamy of saying that American workers are lazy and getting lazier, demanding more benefits and more pay for less work. I mean, have you noticed a shift in this workforce culture? Because I could tell you I certainly have. And I've hired Indian employees, Indian Americans, and I've hired natural-born Americans. And I can tell you, natural-born Americans, they are very much entitled when it comes to work. And that makes Americans angry when I say that. But that's just from my experience as an employer. Have you noticed this as well or not?
No, I have not noticed it. I've noticed people like you who always work above and beyond, which is the way everyone should work. That's how you get ahead in life. But this is none of the government's business. Who cares what Vivek Ramaswamy or Donald Trump think about this? The last thing in the world you'd want is for the federal government, which can't manage a budget, to tell me who to hire and how to pay them and how they should work. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with politicians that don't understand the Constitution is they think they can do what's good for people, irrespective of whether they have the authority to do so under the Constitution or not. The Fifth Amendment guarantees freedom of commercial intercourse. So if you want to fire me because I'm not going above and beyond, that is none of the federal government's business. That's a private business judgment decision that you are able to make morally, legally, and protected from government interference by the Fifth Amendment. For these guys to think they can micromanage the workplace or the economy, I challenge them to show me where the authority for that is in the Constitution. It doesn't exist.
Do you find it interesting to see that people like Senator Bernie Sanders are coming out in favor of of getting rid of the H-1B visa? It's kind of fascinating to see Bernie Sanders and MAGA people coming down on the same side as on the H-1B thing, isn't it?
Well, Senator Sanders is a socialist. He's quite good on some civil liberties issues. He's partly good on war and peace. Just depends who the target is. But on the big, dirty, ugly, dirt under the fingernails hands of the federal government, he would extend it into our private behavior. The MAGA people probably think they are pleasing Trump by coming out in favor of a crackdown on all immigration, even an Albert Einstein type. And I'm actually glad that Trump put them in their place. I don't know, is this war still raging or has Trump put an end to it?
It's only recently, in recent days, started to simmer down, but it was definitely a big battle that had a lot of people at each other's throats. And they were distracted by the new battle of, they always kill the libertarians first, Judge, whenever any new regime comes in, if libertarians are a part of the MAGA coalition, we're always the first ones to be, flecked off, brushed off of their shoulders, because I don't know if you saw Thomas Massie getting attacked for his principal stand on voting against Speaker Johnson. And so for the last 3 days, Thomas Massie has had to defend himself from MAGA people who want to primary him. Have you been seeing this in the news?
I've heard of that. They can primary him all they want. He's got that seat for as long as he likes. I hope he gets Mitch McConnell's seat. He's the greatest person in the Congress. He's fearless, and he's smarter than all those people combined.
But not smarter than my guest I'm talking to right now. I'm speaking to Judge Andrew Napolitano on the phone right now. He's joining us here on the Wake Up America show, and we're so glad to speak to him for the very first time since Christmas and New Year's. The judge is joining us on the phone this morning, a little bit later than usual. He's on Newsmax these days.
I'm losing our conversation, Austin.
Can you hear me now, as Judge? I'll get speaking.
Yes, now I got you. Yes. Yes.
And so if you enjoy these conversations with the judge, we typically have him on every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Time. So please do come back and join us for these conversations live. Judge, what do you make of, let's break this out, parcel this out, the discussions surrounding Greenland, the Panama Canal, annexing Canada. I think that the latter is a joke. But can we talk about the concept of just buying Greenland? I mean, if there is, say, $32 trillion worth of natural resources there, which could pay off our national debt, does it make sense for the United States to buy it for, say, $500 billion if it's worth much more and would enrich the citizens of the United States, and we could acquire more private property and take it over? Is that a good idea to do something like we did with Alaska and the Louisiana Purchase? Good idea? Bad idea? Your thoughts?
I think it's insane, and I don't think it'll ever happen. Take a look at the map and see how close Greenland is to Russia. Never going to happen. There'll be World War III before it happens. And Donald Trump should have thought about that before musing about something as absurd as taking Greenland by force if they don't want to sell it, or the same thing with the Panama Canal. I thought he was a president of peace. All he's talking about in the past 2 days is killing people.
Judge, do you think that the way that the Panama Canal was handed off for $1 was a wise move?
No, I don't, and I condemned it at the time, but it's a treaty, and under our system, a treaty is in the same category as the Constitution, and he is obliged to abide that treaty. I thought it was horrific that Carter did that, but it's the law, and unless Panama wants to sell it back to us at whatever price they agreed on, we're stuck with it.
Trump alleges that Panama is not adhering to their side of a treaty. From a legal perspective, Judge, what systems of recourse would we have if it is true that Panama is not holding to its side of the treaty? How can the United States hold another country to its treaties?
Only by force of arms. I mean, you could go to an international court, but the U.S. never abides these judgments of international courts. I haven't read the treaty, so I don't know what Panama is obliged to do that Trump says they're not doing, or what they shouldn't be doing that they are. At one point, he claimed that they turned the canal over to the Chinese government. That's absurd. The canal is their biggest source of revenue. Do Chinese ships go through there? Yes. Do American ships go through there? Yes, they do. Are they charged comparable rates? Yes, they are. So I don't know what Trump's motivation is, and I'm hesitant to speculate. But you can only bust a treaty that involves land by the force of arms, and he can only do that by a declaration of war on Panama by the Congress, and the Congress can only do that under the treaties that the U.S. has signed if Panama poses a serious and imminent national security threat to the United States, which of course it doesn't.
Judge, I know how you felt about the Louisiana Purchase, that Jefferson did so unconstitutionally. And you said earlier that Greenland is too close to Russia, so you think that's an insane idea. But do you think that the purchase of Alaska was a wise decision? Do you think that was in the United States' best interests? And was it done constitutionally?
I don't know. I don't know the facts on the purchase of Alaska, so I don't know if it was done by a treaty. I believe it was. If it was done by a treaty, then the only issue is, can the government even buy land like that? Jefferson himself believed that the Louisiana Purchase was unconstitutional, but he also believed in this concept of manifest destiny. Basically, the United States will take whatever land it can from Native Americans or from European potentates, either by force or by negotiation. But on Seward's Folly, as the acquisition of Alaska was called, mocking the Secretary of State, whose last name was Seward, I'm unfamiliar with the history.
How would you feel, Judge, about something like a national referendum? So let's say, for example, that all of Canada probably would not want to join the United States, but if the province of Saskatchewan or Alberta, for example, were to hold a province-wide referendum and the citizens by a majority vote were to declare their intention to join the United States as the 51st state, would you see that as a legitimate and lawful act for the acquisition of property? What is a legitimate and lawful acquisition of property, or what would be the legitimate and lawful way to add a state, considering that all the territories that are out there are spoken for? Is a democratic referendum, is that what you would see as the most legitimate?
Well, again, I'm unfamiliar with Canadian law. A referendum might be meaningless because all the power in this hypothetical may be in the hands of a province legislature. But if a foreign geographical unit voted to join the United States, there's no constitutional impediment to bringing that unit in, whether it's Puerto Rico, Greenland, or Saskatchewan, as the 51st state. That can simply be done by an act of Congress, as was done for all of the states that joined the Union, except for West Virginia. Another story that was done by the dictator Lincoln, who stole the land from the state of Virginia, notwithstanding a clause in the Constitution that says no state shall be formed from the land of another state without the original state concurring. But whatever, a lot of horrible things happened during the time of the Civil War. But bringing in some foreign land as the 51st state is constitutional, as long as it's done peacefully.
So, Judge, you sort of sideways mentioned secession in the sense when you mentioned Abraham Lincoln. And there's this theoretical question that I've always wanted to pose to you, and maybe this is the perfect way for me to do it, because I don't know the answer to this, and maybe you've considered it more deeply than I have. But on the question of secession, if, for example, Saskatchewan or Alberta were to hold a democratic referendum and they were to win a majority vote, and say that was within the lawful powers of the people of those provinces to do so, and they wished to break away from Canada, if it was a 51-49 majority, wouldn't it be a tyranny of the majority, in that those who voted against it, that those who did not wish to secede, that they are having their rights violated by being divorced from their mother country? So, for example,
it would also depend upon what the laws of the mother country are. I don't know the independence with which the provinces of Canada can operate. I mean, can New Hampshire join Canada? Well, theoretically, yes. But under the last time the Supreme Court looked at that, said it would require the concurrence of 3/4 of the American states to do so. Interestingly, not the federal government, but 3/4 of the American states. I don't know what the Canadian law is.
Well, I think about the situation in the American South when West Virginia decided to break away from Virginia because they didn't want to secede from the United States. So they broke away from Virginia and had their own secession. But when you consider the secession of the United States itself away from the mother country of England, there were many loyalists here in the United States who did not wish to secede. So how do you protect the rights of a minority in a secession, say what you see as a legitimate or lawful secession? If Virginia were to seek to break away, how would you protect the minority rights of the loyalists or the Americans who wish to stay within the United States, who are having their property essentially confiscated by what becomes a foreign government? How do you protect those minority rights in that kind of a situation?
Okay, now I don't hear you.
Okay, Judge, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Yep.
Look, the loyalists in the colonies suffered grievously. It's a dark and rarely told story of American history, what happened to them after the Civil War. Many were tortured, many were executed, many lost their property. What they should have done or could have done was to go to Canada or to form their own state somewhere. But at some point, the majority does rule. However, I believe that anybody can secede. I believe that New York City can secede from New York State, or Hoboken can secede from New Jersey, or St. Louis can secede from Missouri. And if people don't like that, well, then they can leave the seceding country or province or state or city and go to the place from which the secession occurred. The right to leave, the right to travel, the right to ignore the government is a fundamental liberty that comes from our own individual sovereignty. It is not the largesse of the state.
See, I love this conversation because I always wondered about how do you protect the rights of the people who hold land within the seceding territories if they chose not to do so. And you're right, Judge.
Well, they have their natural rights to defend themselves. So the Tories had the right to shoot at people who were trying to take their land just because they were Tories, and they owned the same land after the Revolution as they did before the Revolution. Unfortunately, state legislatures authorized the seizure of much of those lands because they wanted to sell it and steal the cash to pay the debts incurred by the war.
So in that sense, the revolutionary
more central planning.
Yeah,
more central planning by the government.
Yeah, not very patriotic from those patriotic revolutionaries. Judge,
correct.
This is such a fascinating conversation, and I could only have that kind of a conversation with you, Judge, with your encyclopedic knowledge of history. Next time, let's come back and we'll talk about Alaska and Seward's Folly. That was a great reference there, Judge. I'm going to go do a little bit of research on that one today. Judge, is there anything you'd like to share with our audience? Perhaps give us a sneak preview. I know you were on Newsmax a little bit earlier today. You're so busy these days, Judge. What have you got going on?
Oh, God. I do my podcast from my office at Newsmax, so pursuant to my contractual relationship with them. Yesterday, I had 12 hits, 6 on Newsmax, and 6 podcasts are in my office. So it's like I'm on a treadmill. Donald Trump is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to legal issues that require me to run with minimal preparation into a studio and explain what's going on. You're familiar with Professor Jeffrey Sachs, a dear friend of mine and one of the superstars on my show, a fierce critic of American genocide in Gaza and a fierce critic of the American arming of the Ukraine military. Professor Sachs gave a terrific talk at the Oxford Union about 2 months ago, outlining his views on peace. Yesterday, that speech was posted on Truth Social by Donald Trump. So,
wow. Amazing.
And Jeff just texted me and told me that, and he's coming on at 5 o'clock Eastern today, or 4:30 Eastern, to address all of that. So wonders will never cease.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, the host of his own Judging Freedom podcast, wildly popular and successful. Don't forget to subscribe to that on all your podcasts. Judge, it's nice to talk to you again. Happy New Year. We look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday.
Back at you. I hope I can see your smiling face next week. I hope all these technical glitches are gone. All the best to you and your family, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, and you as well. Thank you very much to Judge Andrew Napolitano, the host of the Judging Freedom podcast. There we go. All right, guys. Well, we've only got like a couple of minutes left. Time for us to wind it down. I got some good news. We have new coffee, and it's cheaper. The Wake Up America show is part of the For Liberty Network at forlibertynetwork.com. That means it's the Wake Up America show, Culturama, and Liberty Tonight. And now Culturama and Liberty Tonight have their own coffees. We've been adding new coffees to the shop as well as teas from our For Liberty collection. You can get Atomic Blonde, a nice blonde roast, delicious and sweet, just like Daniela Pensack, over at forlibertyshop.com. So check it out, Atomic Blonde whole bean coffee, and it's $2 cheaper than our typical Founding Flavors roast. On the phone call, Stephanie said that most of the people said that price was the prohibitive question when it came to coffee, and you got to understand that the margins are so thin on these products, but we want to be able to serve you and to give you delicious coffee. Allow us to be your caffeine dealer, and now at a reduced cost, you can get our delicious Founding Flavors coffee at forlibertyshop.com. Check us out at the number 4 libertyshop.com, exit to the gift shop, and we'll see you back here tomorrow if the weather and if the internet permits on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. We'll see you guys later. Oh, and look, it's Liz. She said, she asked a rant. I didn't see it in time. If we can sue Zuck for suppressing our business or politics, did he treat left contact equally? That's a great question, Liz. I'm sorry I didn't see it in time. I'll put it in there for next Wednesday in my notes. Thanks very much for that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's revolutionary roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's patriotic perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.